We'll take first question right here on this corner. Tim, on your right.
Hi, Mike. Tim Reynolds, AP. Obviously, you guys have had pretty convincing success in closeout opportunities this year, all on the road, all obviously blowouts. What's been the common trend? What makes this group, when they get a chance to put a series away, lock in at a level that we just don't see very often?
Their level of maturity. We have some, obviously we have some veteran guys on the team, but you can be a veteran and still have a little bit of immaturity about you, as we all know. But from top to bottom, this group is pretty mature, even though a lot of them are veteran guys, and that rubs off on the rest of the group. It makes my job easier. And we've been preaching all year. It's about the next possession, the next possession, the next possession. And we understand anytime you try to play a closeout game, the level of desperation for your opponents is increased. The level of desperation for the fans of your opponents is increased. And you have to bring your best effort, because even if you bring your best effort, it may not happen, especially on the road. But that's the only way you have a chance for it to happen.
On your left up front.
Hey Mike, Leandro Carranza from NBA Latin America. You guys have won 2 here and obviously came back in one of the biggest games ever, but you still need one. So how is the process mentally wise to stay focused on the goal?
The biggest thing is everybody has to stay present. You have to be present. You can't think about the outcome. It's about the process, the next play, the next play, the next play. And, sometimes you could think about the process and it not work out, but when you're playing against other great teams especially, that's how you have to take it, because anybody's mind can start wandering when you think about the outcome.
Jared in the center.
Jared Schwartz, New York Post. Mike, you were talking about how mature of a group you have. How much has that played a factor? How much has your guys' maturity and experience level played a factor in this series, especially late in games?
Not just this series, but our whole playoff run, because there were times when we had our backs against the wall and, there was really no panic. There was no panic from, ownership, from Leon, from the staff, all the way down through the players. And a lot of it starts with the players, and they've been great at trusting or continuing to believe in the process and each other, while we kept trying to find ways to help them out. And it's no different with this series. San Antonio's a great team, and you just got to try to find a way. You got to try to find a way, whether it's by 1 point, a half a point, if they give half a point, or 10 points, you got to try to find a way, and our guys are trying to continue to do that.
On your left, Dan.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. Coach, you've talked so many times over the course of this postseason about the need to stay desperate, that 0-0 mentality, those sorts of things. Is getting back to that place harder after as emotional a game as Game 4 was, with the highs and the lows and the way it concludes? Is it harder to get back to 0 after a game like that?
It is hard. We're all human, and it was hard even in the series that we swept. You win 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 games in a row, and there's a tendency to relax a little bit, and that's just in life. Your job, you have success for 10 months straight. Maybe you feel like, okay, man, I got this. I know what I'm doing, and you're not as sharp then, because everybody's been patting you on your back and telling you how great you are. So trying to manufacture things to help guys lock in, trying to talk to guys individually so they can continue to talk to their teammates to lock in. All that stuff is huge, having Pat Ewing's presence around, so he could talk to guys to continue to help them lock in from a different vantage point, is all huge. for us to do, especially during this time and coming off a win like we did last time.
We'll take
The
these
last
three
game.
over here: Marcus, Sam, and then Ian.
Marcus Thompson with The Athletic. Mike, I don't know if you remember, I covered you,
Finally, where you been?
you know, doing my thing.
Okay. Oh, we know what that is.
Yeah. You know what it is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
So you've coached a lot of superstars, right? Like the biggest names in the game. But I'm curious, how do you feel for a guy like Landry Shamet, who has been through, you know, the journeyman life and all these teams, and he gets to the moment and he's ready for it? I know, you know, you've coached Kobe and
Yeah.
LeBron and all that, but what does that guy do for you as a coach when you see it work out like that?
You know, I tell you what, that just for me, I'm speaking me personally, that's the best feeling in the world, to see somebody that, you know, deserves an opportunity and maybe gets passed over, and now on one of the biggest stages in the game of his craft, he steps up and he shows the world, no, I can do this. I mean, it makes you feel really, really good to see that, because he went and he earned it. And it, you know, you have a lot of role models in life. You have a lot of things that you look up to in life, but you can take a guy like Landry Shamet's story as a young player, or even somebody in the work field on another job, and just understand you might get passed up for that promotion 6 straight times, but if you stay with it, believe, grind. Now when that opportunity is there and the right situation is there for you, it's time for you to shine. And that's what he's doing, and that's what I love more than anything. It's bigger than basketball. Looking at his story, it's a great life lesson for many others.
Sam.
Sam Amick, The Athletic. Over here, Mike.
Sammy,
Nice to see you, brother.
you too.
The environment the other night with that game, I mean, it felt like you guys won the title. You know what I mean? People going crazy. How do you make sure that your group doesn't let up when you had that kind of an experience? Because as you know, the finals 3-1 comeback has only happened once, right before you got to the Warriors, but it's been 15 times historically. I mean, it's not the type of thing that never happens. How do you make sure your group doesn't, change the way that they attack this thing?
Well, the one thing is this: the only thing that you can 100% make sure of is, I hate to be, graphic, gruesome, pessimistic. Because I had this conversation with one of my sons the other day, is everybody's going to pass at one day. That's the only thing. So I can't 100% say this is what I'm going to do to make them not have the hangover from the win 2 nights ago. But the biggest thing is continuing to preach 0-0, continuing to preach stay present, continuing to preach next possession, and then hope that the experiences that they've gone through as a group already and their maturity, as well as our standards, which they really hung on to all year, will help us lock into this game, because it's going to be hard. San Antonio is a great team. They're desperate. I still think they believe, and it's going to be hard for us, but it's natural for that to creep in a little bit. You just hope that it doesn't creep in too long throughout the course of the game.
Ian, last one. Let's try to see if we can get it quick. We got Jalen on his ready to go.
Ian Begley, SNY Mike. You obviously have been a coach in this league a long time. Leon Rose, before you came here, was a longtime agent. I'm sure you guys crossed paths, but what has stood out to you about Leon's approach as an executive, as the team president?
It hadn't changed, man. Leon's one of the best dudes I've ever been around. And I'm throughout the agent, throughout the president, I'm just talking pure human being. He, when I was a coach in Cleveland, his son Sam was coaching, was playing for a high school up in New Jersey. I'll never forget. and he hit me. We were going to go play the New Jersey Nets, and he asked if I could go speak to his son's team. Normally, I wouldn't do that, but it's when he asked me, just because of the interactions, when we weren't tight, we weren't best friends, but the interactions that we've had, there was something there for me. And I had zero clue he'd be the president, we'd be working together someday. But just because of who he was as a human being, I was like, yeah. So on a day off, I jumped in a car, went and spoke to his son's team, and that was that. Now you fast forward, and we're here together, and he's been an absolute no matter what happens going forward, I don't care what happens going forward. He's been an absolute joy to work with. And his family's been great. His wife, my wife, they get along fantastic. And that synergy between me and him and our two wives, it helped the whole organization aligned, horizontally and vertically. And that's what you have to have in these situations, especially when things get tough. He's not going to waver.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys.